Heartbreakers. Is it as advertised? What is this movie? Los Angeles painter Arthur Blue and businessman Eli Kahn are the best of friends, commiserating and competing always, whether on the actual racquetball court or in the singles bar. When Blue's long-term girlfriend Sid leaves him for a more successful artist and Eli's father passes away, they each fall for a beguiling French art gallery manager, and their fragmented bromance enters crisis mode. They call it a bromance, best of friends, Arthur and Eli playing racquetball, and right away you see their competitive nature. Not only have they known each other for a long time, they share financial information, they share women, they're totally bros. Like there's a scene where Eli takes a girl home and Arthur's there. Arthur ends up watching them almost have sex, and then the best friends end up like having a conversation over the woman. And the woman's like, okay, well, what do I do? Kind of deal. So these guys are close, man, and the friendship is very complicated. So Arthur Blue, he's been making art, but it's not like the art that he wants to make or really is into. So to like impress his girlfriend, he quits, and he's like, I want to start new, I want to get aggressive, I want to open my own show, my own gallery type thing, let's do this. She ends up leaving him anyway and sleeping with another artist. So when he finds out, he confronts the artist, how does it feel to sleep with my woman kind of deal. And then you have Eli, he's close to his father, and his father passes away, so he's on the fritz too, on a downer. Eli is the romantic one. He's like, he jumps to these extremely, he jumps to these crazy like extremes where he's like, I'm gonna marry that woman, that she's the one, he falls head over heels for these women. And Arthur has always been like the one to kind of play it cool, and then when Eli messes up, he gets the girl kind of thing if he wants her. And that's what they claim, that Sid, Arthur's ex, who leaves him for another artist, that's how Eli confronts him, like, hey, I'm the one that met Sid first. So now he's the one meeting actually Arthur meets the French curator before Eli, but Eli falls hard for her, ends up going to her yoga class, and they end up having a coffee. And then Eli's got a funny line too where he has sex with the French lady, and then Arthur's like, so you guys didn't make love, you had sex. And he's like, well, what's the difference? He's like, you tell me, women are so complicated. So these guys are still trying to figure out women, and they're always competing. So Candy is Arthur's muse, and the real art that Arthur wants to make is like this BDSM type paintings, sort of like Betty Page type thing. So Candy is the model for that, and he does these paintings of her that are going to be in his gallery, his show. And Eli comes over one night, and Candy's there, and they both want to have sex with Candy, so they have a threesome. That's the kind of relationship these guys have. Very competitive, but very open. Bobby Roth comes up with some great scenarios and unique dialogue. I mean, the whole idea of two really close friends, and the fact that they share women and they share finances. They're practically dating, but it's very heterosexual, very, very like competitive testosterone going on here. It's a unique dynamic. You don't see that in films. I don't think I've seen it before, or I haven't seen it since. Here's the cover, and then there's the back of the O-ring. Comes out. I'm assuming this is the original poster, and then there's a booklet. And this was released by Fun City Editions, which is a partner label of Vinegar Syndrome. But there's a whole essay in here about the film and behind the scenes. Very, very cool. Very, very, very well done packaging. This is a new 2K transfer, restored from the 35mm interpositive. So the transfer looks really good, really, really solid. Pieces of Me, a newly filmed video interview directed by Bobby Roth. Pieces of My Life, a newly filmed video interview with director Bobby Roth. This is a great interview. They ask him a lot of behind the scenes questions, how he was as a filmmaker at the time, what it was like being an artist in LA, type of thing, who he based the characters off of. It's very informative. Mr. Amore and Mr. Outside, a newly filmed video interview with stars Peter and Nick. Great interview as well. Some of them are over Zoom, but it's a fairly new interview, and I definitely recommend it. Video introduction by Bobby Roth, an image gallery, an isolated music track. So the music is done by Tangerine Dream. Did the soundtrack for Thief and Sorcerer, among others. Great soundtrack. There's also some really cool 80s songs. Newly recorded audio commentary by filmmaker Chris O'Neill and Bill Ackerman of the Supporting Characters podcast. I'll have to check that out. Movie's 99 minutes from 1984, Heartbreakers. It gives my highest recommendation. This movie is definitely worth checking out, especially if you're a fan of dramedies, sex comedy, sexual, racy stuff, cool 80s vibes. If you're into that, the Heartbreakers has it all. So definitely check it out. Let me know if you ordered it. This has been Return of the Disc. I'm Dan. For more Return of the Disc, visit returnofthedisc.com. Check out the audio version of today's show, available on all major podcast platforms. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel.